Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My proposition is that diversity is not just a question of politics, but diversity adds value. And I'll give you examples. I'll give you two good examples why I believe that diversity adds value and it's not just a matter of plain old politics. Not that there is anything wrong with politics. Politics has its place. And indeed, it is in politics where we say, I am as qualified as you are, so I am entitled to be appointed just like you are. It is in politics that we say, you should not be appointed twice before I am appointed once. That is politics, and there is a place for it in international arbitration and in other areas of life. But I'm going a little further and saying diversity adds value. That's the definition of diversity. It's quite straightforward apart from gender. I was taught that there were two genders, but things might have changed a bit lately. Also, on the last point there of sexual orientation, in some places on this world, even talking about sexual orientation is considered completely rude at best. Now, that is contextualizing diversity in arbitration. I will not dwell much on that slide because I don't have much time. But allow me to go to the second last point, the non-lawyer in arbitration. I am the one. I am the non-lawyer arbitrator in the room. I am an economist and I am a chartered arbitrator. And what I'm saying is that diversity, our discussions on diversity must include bringing multiple skills into arbitration through non-lawyer arbitrators. Cartels. Yes, let's talk about cartels, because there are arbitrator cartels. It's the same people in ICC, in LCIA, in ICSID, it's the same people going round. That is a cartel, by definition. The second point is more or less straightforward, but there are also arbitration institutions which run cartels. Now, the fourth point is interesting because it's easy for us to meet in conferences like this and talk about diversity and cartels in international arbitration. But tell me, are there cartels in domestic arbitration? I can see a few heads nodding this way. I wish they were nodding this way. But we also need to talk about that. I would like to go quickly to the next slide, because diversity is a very uncomfortable topic to discuss in international forum and in domestic forum. Because when you talk of diversity, you are admitting in a way that there has been some discrimination. So it's a very uncomfortable topic to talk about. Now, I'll skip that slide because of time. I've talked a bit about diversity politics, except to add some salt to the last point there, that Africans are doing well in European and American law firms, football, engineering, etc. We have even fathered a president for the US in the middle of learning. So why exclusion from arbitration? That's politics, and there is a place for it. Now, there are two main initiatives. There are two main initiatives now on diversity. One is the ERA, the other one is the Alliance. The major difference is that ERA is just about including women. It's not about diversity. It's about including women. the alliance is all-inclusive, it says. Although when you look at the colors on their website, they suggest that they are inclined to a gender which loves a certain color or which is associated to a certain color. Now, value addition, this is where I want to go. I'll give you two examples. One is a Tanzanian case. The other one is a Lesotho case. Now, the Tanzanian case involves TANROADS and Kudamsing. TANROADS is Tanzanian Road Authority or something like that. Kudamsing is a Kenyan company which was contracted to build a road in Tanzania. The Stockholm Chamber of Commerce arbitration rules were applicable, and by consent, SCC appointed the entire tribunal of 3. The salient issues there are gender diversity, regional stroke nationality diversity. The chairman of the tribunal was Pakistani. Even though this was a construction dispute, there was no non-lawyer in it. All the panel members were lawyers. And now the contract sum was $2.1 million, which is a modest sum in international arbitration, and that is probably why SCC decided that a diverse tribunal was appropriate. They didn't want to bring the big guns to Africa for a dispute involving such a petty sum. Now, the arbitration dispute and outcomes, I'll not go there except to say that the dispute was decided on the basis of whether or not the engineer in the project was an agent of the employer or not. The majority decided he was not. Mrs. Ufot of Nigeria, a lawyer and a chartered arbitrator from Nigeria, dissented. Why did Mrs. Ufot dissent? To understand that, one has to interrogate who appoints the engineer. It's obviously the employer. So the engineer is an employee, it's an agent of the employer, using a simple definition. Now, I have 1 minute, so I'll not go into the Lesotho case, except to mention that the tribunal chairman was David Williams, QC, from New Zealand. Another member was Doc Bishop of King's Spalding, and the third arbitrator was Justice Petras. Now, guess who dissented there? The judge from South Africa dissented. And the matter was taken to the Singapore High Court. I'll go there quickly. And the Singapore High Court set aside that arbitration award because it found that PCA, Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, had no jurisdiction over the dispute. It's the one which had appointed the panel. So it set aside the award, in a way vindicating the decision of the South African judge who had dissented. Now, closing thoughts. Diversity is a complex subject. Diversity comes with new ideas. New people come with new ideas. Questioning of status quo. New people will question the status quo. And in addition to that, empirical studies are required on the effect of diversity on arbitration decisions. That is not something I have time or resources for, but I'm sure there are people and organizations who can put in some money for such studies to establish the value diversity adds to arbitration, to international arbitration. So the last thing down there, beware, new kids on the block. Thank you.